Hello everybody, my name is Murenike Ogunleye. I'm here at Bluemool Limited, and as we promised, to give you the best information, practices and ideas that will give you the value for your investment. Today we're going to be running you through our construction processes. Here I have with me the operations manager of Bluemool Limited, who will be giving us the necessary details needed for development process and delivery. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Please, can you introduce yourself?
My name is Engineer Emmanuel Olanrewaju Shangolano, Operations Manager at Bluemool Limited.
Thank you very much, sir. So, sir, as a professional, what can you say about the trend in this axis?
In recent years, the axis has been experiencing significant development, which in the real estate and infrastructures. And this area has been marked as an emerging investment destination with various projects like Lekki Free Trade Zone, Dangote refineries, and proposed Lagos Smart City. And as we're looking at this in years to come, it's going to be like a speed of light when it comes to development.
Well, thank you so much, sir. So, can you run us through the stages of development, sir?
Yeah, the stages of development, particularly in real estate and construction, you have to start by planning. And I think that is the basic thing when it comes to processes in terms of construction and real estate, where we define your goals, the scope, and the budget for that particular project. Then we follow by the design. Design of plans and specification, whereby we have to go by the architectural drawings, structural drawing, mechanical and electrical drawings. Thereafter, we move to, after the design, we have to move to the site preparations. You know, in some instances, our site may be bushy, may be waterlogged. We have to prepare that site for foundation. If it is waterlogged, we have to create asset by filling, sand filling. If it is bushy, we have to clear it to prepare it for foundation. Then after the site preparation, we move to foundation proper, whereby we decide the type of foundation we're going to use. And let me tell you, the choice of foundation depends on the structural engineers. They have to decide the type of foundation we are to use based on the report of the geotechnical tests conducted by geotechnical engineers. But in our area here, the most common foundation we are using is pile foundation, rat foundation. And after the foundation, then we move to the structural framing, whereby we take the structure up through the columns, the slabs, up to the roof level. Then the next stage will be enclosure. Enclosure in terms of block work, windows, roof, all those things will be put in place, after the framing. I call it exposure. Then exposure, after the whole building has been up, then the next thing to do is to put on the utilities. What I mean by utility is the mechanical and the electrical installation, the plumbing, the electrical piping, and so on. So that is utility in terms of MIE. Then after that, we go to finishes. We have interior finishes. We have to do with ceiling finishes, floor finishes, wall finishes. So then exterior as well. So as we are doing the finishing for interior, we have to come to the exterior. So exterior finishing, which we end in painting. That is exterior finishing. After all this, we go by the external works, by the connection to the sewage plant, the connection to water supply, and all this. At the end of all these processes, I think we have to come back for final inspection. And with that final inspection, to make sure that all the services in the building are well executed, then we can now hand over the project to the owner.
Oh, that's so interesting. Sir, okay, I noticed during the process of construction, people do make use of this black nylon. I don't know, what's the usefulness?
That would take me back to the foundation.
Okay.
And that I mentioned, during the process of the construction, I mentioned foundation, and I said in this axis we normally use two types of foundation, which is pile and the raft. So I will go by the raft so I can be able, answer that question effectively. Now, when it comes to raft foundation, it involves these raft arrangement of reinforcement, formwork around it, and at the end of the day we put concrete. After the concrete we fill. We have to fill those rafts, and that raft, during the filling, we make sure that we compact it very well to avoid settlement at the long run. So after the compaction, the introduction of that nylon you mentioned, we call it DPM, dam proof membrane, and is part of the material used, to achieve dam proof course, that is DPC. So the function of this is to prevent moisture from entering the walls of your building, which as a result at the end of it causes dampness. I think let me break it simpler. When we're talking about dampness is the water around your buildings in such a way that it damages your finishes like POP and your paint. So to prevent this, we introduce this nylon and the arrangement of reinforcement, then concreting. So the purpose of that nylon DPM is to prevent dampness in the building.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Well, another thing that I need clarity on is German floor, and I'm sure most viewers out there also want to know more about this German floor. Please, can you tell us, sir?
Well, German floor, in construction and architectural terms, I think is not a standard term we used. It can be a reference to a particular type of flooring, a particular type of design, or a regional construction process. Okay. So German floor is not the right word we use when it comes to construction, but it can only be a ground floor slab. I mentioned DPC, you understand? So that's the word we use for ground floor slab, not German floor. So German floor is not a standard term.
Okay. Thank you for this wonderful insight. And we'd like to know, sir, with the economic downturn in Nigeria, how have you been able to cope with construction? And just tell us how you've been able to manage the construction process.
Yeah, generally, economic downturns been about inflation. And we know that generally inflation bring about increase in cost for materials, labor, and financing. So which affected the overall budget, the project budget. And in terms of this, it's challenging for the real estate investor to be able to maintain the profit margin. So this inflation, let me give you an example. Some years back, we used to buy cement at the rate of 2,500, 2,600, but today it's 5,300. Wow. Now, reinforcement then is like 300,000. Today it's 550, 560, 600,000. So it has like 200, 300% increase. So it's really affecting the construction and the real estate industry. But in another way around, the real estate is like another tangible asset, whereby it can act as an edge, to against the inflation. What I mean by edge against inflation is that when there is a rise in the project value, there will be an increase in price of the project. That means is a potential safety. It's a potential safety for the real estate investors, because they can depend on that. Okay, despite the fact there's an inflation then the price, the increase in value of the property has given an hedge against the inflation. So it's against the inflation. So that is the economic downturn in country have put the negative and the positive in the real estate industry.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much, sir. And lastly, sir, what advice would you give to the developers like you, and also people who are aspiring to go into construction, or
Yeah,
who wants to build on their own?
yeah, the investors, or you want to be on your own on this axis, the first advice I would give is to make sure you research on the development plan of these assets. Then after the research on development plan, make sure you also go into the research of economic growth prospects of that environment. You can engage a professional for an insight in such a way that they will help you out. Like Bluemool, they are ready to help you out when it comes to your investments. And you know, when we're talking about people want to invest, there's something they need to be very, very careful about. And that is the due diligence of title, project title, and documentation.
Thank you so much, Engineer Emmanuel. That's the operations manager of Bluemool Limited. Once again,
It's my pleasure.
thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yeah, so you've heard it all, guys. It's time for you to make the right decision. Come to Bluemool. We are here to help you and make life